different projects I made for it, also showcase what is coming in each bundle, and I'm going to do a quick project make just to see how you can actually use all 3 bundles together. So Pete Hughes is going to be hosting for us, so be sure to tune in March 2nd. We have 2 bundles going on at noon Eastern Standard Time and 1 bundle going on at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So without further ado, let's get into these makes because I'm sure you all want to see what's going to be on there. I'm just going to switch to an overhead camera real quick, so bear with me for a minute. Okay, so let me just get this situated in here. So like I said, we're going to have 3 different bundles that are going to be going on, and I'm going to go through each bundle real quick, what comes with it, and show you some different projects I made. The first bundle I want to talk about is this spring floral shaker one. It's got dies and some stamps, as well as the jar dome that comes with it. So first things up, within this, you're going to get a Thinlits die set, and it comes with wild blooms. I've got a couple of the florals missing from this right now, which I'll show you what they are, but I've been making projects, so the flowers are not with me at the moment. But this is the Wild Blooms set by Lisa Jones. It comes with some great foliage pieces. You do get 3 different floral pieces. I have 2 of the other floral pieces not with me at the moment, but you get some leaves in 3 different sizes, some flower centers, and then some stems as well. You're also gonna get the jar framelit set. So this is great because it works with another feature that comes in the bundle, which is the jar domes. So these jar domes, there are 6 packs, you're gonna get 6 of them, and they're great because they come with adhesive backing on them already, so you can turn them into great shaker cards. One of the upsells that will be available for the show is a bunch of our sequins and beads. So if you aren't familiar, our sequins and beads towers look like this. They come with 5 different types of beads or sequins in a color, and we're going to be featuring, I believe it's about 9 different versions of these. So be sure to look out for the upsell opportunities with our sequins and beads because they're perfectly aligned to work with our jar dome. And I will show you some samples actually that I did with and without the jar dome, we'll say. So you can actually still use this without the jar dome. It does come with the bundle, but if you feel inclined that you want to do something more flat, that's also a possibility too. Another thing you're going to get in this particular bundle is the New Beginnings clear stamp set. So you can see it's got some great everyday sentiments: let love grow, hello, thank you, new beginnings, spring, celebrate, happy day, as well as some beautiful little foliage stamp elements as well. So those are the 2 different die sets, stamp set, and then you're also going to get the jar dome. So now let me show you a few projects with this one. And if you're interested in this bundle and kind of looking at it ahead of time, the number for this on HSN is going to be 749557. That's the bundle number for this. So that's 749557. So let me show you a couple of different projects. So first things up, I'm going to show you one with the jar dome in use. This is one of the other florals that comes in the die set. It's a little bit of a shaker, not a shaker, sorry. It's a little bit of like a poppy shape, and you can see I've chosen some bright colors. It does come with this embossing feature on it, which I think is really fun, and you'll see in a lot of these projects, I wanted to highlight that embossing area, and I've gone over it with a white gel pen. I've also used our limoncello sequins and beads, which are part of the bundle. Not part of the bundle, sorry, part of the upsells alongside the bundles. So that's one of the sequins and bead sets that you can potentially get. Then I've taken those wild blooms and all the foliage and the florals, and I've taken them and I've turned it into a shaker card using a very robust floral set, we'll say. This definitely, I wanted to go with bright tones across these projects because that's what spring reminds me of, is these really bright, beautiful pastels and colors that you would see. What I do like about these cards is that you can make them as dimensional or as one-dimensional as you want. So I've done these with the jar shaker dome, so these might be great to hand carry versus sending through the mail. But if you want to send them through the mail, you also have the option of just cutting out the jar framelit right here and cutting the pieces and doing a more dimensional thing that was easier to send through the mail. So you can do them with or without the jar, as you can see, but the jar piece cuts and aligns to go inside and behind. So this cut right here fits inside the dome, and then this piece cuts the border that goes around the dome, which I have shown here. So you can see you can cover up where the adhesive shows, but it's really a beautiful kind of set that all works together, and you can see how many different styles of floral bouquets that you can get. I've done different ones each time, and I've inked some, and some I've added like the white gel pens. You could also watercolor your flowers and then die cut them out. You can just do them out of cardstock. You could do them out of pattern paper. It's really, the sky's the limit with florals. And what I do like, especially with any floral die set, is that you can cut them for any season or occasion. So if I were to send this for Valentine's Day, I might have done these all in pinks and reds. But if I'm sending them for Christmas, I might do reds and greens. So I think it's really nice that any kind of floral set it's versatile for the whole year, and you can make it work all year. But then I wanted to show you how you could just take the actual flowers and just do a project with just the florals in the set. So I've done this one where I just took one singular flower and then I created like a little mini bouquet, and then I've stamped Let Love Grow from the stamp set that comes with the die set, or with the bundle. And I've just created like a really nice, beautiful scene, inked a little bit in the background, and then have inked the flowers to give them some more dimension, just to kind of pop them up a little bit more. I also wanted to show you this one. I think this is my favorite that I created. I love a good floral scene. So for this one, I just took the flowers, I inked the leaves in various distress inks, and then I have taken some of these flowers and I've put foam tape behind to give them just a little bit of dimension, which I think adds a lot when you're doing a project. Sometimes even just a little bit of foam tape can add just the right dimension that'll create like a shadow effect, and then it makes like your scene feel a little bit more realistic. And then I've just kind of gone in and added different distress inks along the edges just to give everything like some shadow effects. And then I just glued it all down with some express glue. I like tall, slender cards. I think I might start making more of those. And then the last one I wanted to show you is I took the foliage elements and I kind of cut them apart. So as you can see on the die sets, obviously these foliage pieces are very tall, but I wanted to create my own wreath. So I took these and I kind of cut them in strategic places and created my own wreath, and then added some florals in just to finish off that wreath. But I think that's one of my favorite things to do with dies, is to take them, dissect them, and then create my own little scene or version of how to use them. So most people might see that and be like, oh, I'll just put them in the jar, but you can also cut them apart and show how you can, I could have done this and made it look like grass even. There's a lot of different ways that you can use these dies other than just sticking them in the jar and making them look like a flower bouquet. You can create your own floral scenes. You can just use the florals. You could just use the foliage. You could actually cut the foliage almost all in like a monochromatic tone and just do two tones on a card. I think that would be really pretty. So I'm just going to set these off to the side and I'm move to the next bundle. So the next bundle is our Framelits die sets, and it comes also with a 6x6 paper pad. So let me just pull in those sets real quick. So here's the paper pad. I've got them in individual sheets right now. So you're going to get these really beautiful patterns in florals. There's some geometric shapes. The colors are very kind of pastel and spring color oriented. You've got some leaves. I think this one's my favorite with the rainbows. I love this color scheme. It's got pinks and blues, which I really like together. You've got some nice striped versions. There's this really pretty butterfly pattern that you'll get. There's also this nice star one, which you could do for like a mini scrapbook page. I could see that one working. A nice polka dot in an aqua color. This one says, "Oh, happy day," repeated in like script repeat, which I think is so cute. And then you get these two patterns as well. So what these nice ones like align with are the dies that come in the set. So I'm just pulling out the stamps because they're stamp framelit sets. There's 2 of them that come in this bundle. So this particular bundle is called, again, the Framelits die sets with the 6x6 pattern pad or paper pad. And its number on HSN is going to be 749549. So if you're interested in this bundle on HSN, it's going to be 749549. So it comes with 2 different sets. So this one right here, let me pull these out of the way so I can show you how they work together. So you get this one right here, which is, I love nested shapes. It's like one of my favorite things to work with because they're so versatile and you can use them over and over. This one right here is the Framelits, or the Frames and Sentiments set, and it comes with all of these circular thinlets and framelits. But what I don't think you can see is that each of them has like a little bit of a design on them. So you'll get a nice kind of dotted line, or it'll punch out the little holes. You also get these 4 little corner tabs as well, but they also align with these. So you can actually take the framelit, place it around this, and cut out that shape from the paper pad, which I think is so fun, and it's just a nice way to tie in all the elements together. It also works with these stamps. So you can cut this shape out and then stamp your sentiment on there and reuse it. And I've got projects that I'll show you how I did that. So this one's the Frames and Sentiments set, but then you also are going to get another stamp framelit set. And this one is the Labels and Sentiment set. So you can see you get a much different, you get different types of shapes in this one, which these ones are a little bit more decorative, have a little bit of a fancier vibe to them, we'll say. But you also get these stamps that align with them. Thank you, hello, congrats, with sympathy, just for you, with love. So you get some really nice everyday sentiments that you can use on any of your cards, but then they also align with fitting in the label shapes that cut out on this one. And then as you can see, this one also works with this piece from the pattern paper pad, and it fits around and you can die cut out those shapes as well. So really nice, like kind of everyday set, definitely worth looking at. I'm gonna put these off to the side real quick, and I'm gonna bring in some of the projects that I made with this. So I went with, because of the pattern paper, I went with more like pastel colors, very light spring, airy kind of things for the projects I made. I'm just gonna lay these out over here so you can keep them in mind. So the first project I did, I took one of the shapes and I created my own little pattern backdrop or background. So I took one of the oval shapes and I just cut it, and then I trimmed off the edges, and then I went back in and where the stitching marks were, that had embossed into the shape, I just added some white gel pen and added those in. And then you can see I just kind of, I cut a few of the shapes, and then I trimmed off the edge, and I just layered them up, and then I stamped my sentiment in the middle. And then because we're having that other bundle that's going up on HSN with the jar and the flowers, I just incorporated a few of those onto this project. The next one I did is I took the oval shape and I cut it in a couple of different colors, and then I just layered it across like this so that I could have a fun little unique background. And then I took the other elements in that same die set, layered them up. I used some vellum right here. I used the pattern paper on the second layer, and then I've stamped the Sending Love sentiment. And then I just included a couple more florals from the Floral shaker bundle. I love this one. I had fun. I got really inspired by the rainbow in the pattern paper, so I decided to do a striped rainbow effect with cardstock in the background. And then I've just cut the label shapes out of different colors, used some foam tape behind, stamped my hello sentiment, and then I've used some of these star sequins from the Primrose Sequins and Beads Tower, which is part of the upsell bundles. This one, I just did a sweet little card right here just for you. Again, just stacked up those label shapes, cut it out of the pattern paper just to add a little bit of flair, and then went back in and added some more florals. I definitely think that these cards are perfect for creating. You don't really need a lot to make these projects like pop. On this one, I just cut the label shapes, and look what a beautiful kind of stacked layer they look like. And then I did a kind of a fun little idea. So this one might just look like a card, but I actually made it a belly band. And what I did is I took one of the label shapes and I die cut it into the front of the card so that the card would open up. So you can actually make your own little peekaboo kind of cards. And then because I want it to stay, I created my own little belly band that would go across the top. Of course, once you take them off, they're harder to get back on. And I just can slide that into place so that when you're sending the card, it stays closed. So this is the second bundle I wanted to share with you. And let's get into the last bundle, which has some embossing in it. Okay. So this last bundle is our embossing folders, but it also comes with some dies, some phrases. So I'm going to show the embossing folders first. So this one is, if you're interested in what comes with it, this bundle number is 749553. That's 749553. And with this bundle, you're going to get 3 really beautiful honestly, I think one of my favorites of the year is in here. 3 different embossing folders, but you're also going to get this Celebrate die set. And you can see these are really beautiful script die sets. I have a bunch of samples, so I'll show you what they each look like, but you get congratulations, make a wish, well done, party time, celebrate, yay, and then you also get some exclamation points to add on. But the first embossing folder is the honeycomb embossing folder. I love this one, and I don't know if you can really tell, but there's the thing with 3D embossing is there's a lot of really great depth and detail. And I'm going to actually use this in a make in just a minute, but I wanted to show you how beautiful this is and how I'll show it to you with some of the florals. It doesn't take a lot to dress these folders up. The next one is called Celebrate. Happy Birthday. I'm getting that confused with this. This one's Happy Birthday. As you can see, it's got some great little detailed elements on there. I love the candle. I hope you can see that. I love the candle. And it says, let's party, happy birthday, cheers. This one is really great to add some ink across the top because then it makes the words stand out even more. And then the last one, which happens to be my favorite, is Art Deco. And as you can see, this one is stunning. I love this folder. It has a really nice classic fun effect, but it really looks beautiful with florals and inks across it or acrylic paints. It just like any of these with luster wax across the top would be beautiful. So now let me show you some of the projects I made. So I took the honeycomb embossing folder and then I used the Make-A-Wish sentiment, and I just did it in white paper, and you can see how beautifully it shows up just on white paper. Simple card. Took some florals from the floral jar bundle and just added some different little features. You can use whatever you kind of have in your own die sets at home to kind of dress up these embossing folders, but I loved how just even on white cardstock, how beautiful and how vibrant even that particular folder looks. Then I did this one, which is like a party time, happy birthday one. I took the pattern paper pad from this is the Framelits bundle and put the little rainbow behind just to give it a little bit of a sneak peek of pattern paper. And then I took the party time sentiment, and then I did the happy birthday folder, ran it through in white cardstock, and then went over it very lightly with some pink distress ink, so you can see how those particular words and sentiments really pop once you add a little bit of ink to them. I did something similar here as well, little color block situation. I stacked the yay a few times to make it dimensional, as you can see, but I did the happy birthday folder in 3 or 4 different colors and then just went over them with ink to really make the words stand out on that one. I also did 2 versions of this Art Deco one. So I did the mountainside and the valley side of the folder so you could see how different they look. So on this one, I I embossed the valley side and then I went over it with ink. And I don't know if you can tell, but I also then went over it with an embossing ink pad and clear embossing powder. So it gave it an enamel effect, which I don't know if that's even really showing up right now. But embossing folders are great. You can leave them as is. You can add ink on them, or you can even add embossing powder to the top of them to give them a really cool effect. I did the Well Done in the Opulent cardstock right here. Our Opulent cardstock packs are also part of the upsells bundles that you can purchase on the side, aside from the bundles I'm showing you. So I've done the silver. All of 5 of our Opulent packs will be available on HSN. And then I did this party time one, same folder, but this time I did the mountainside. So you can see that it's a different, that my emboss is coming forward, whereas in this one I was showcasing the deboss. So on this one, I went over it with oxide inks. And so I use oxide when I want to blend. It works really great because the colors don't kind of turn muddy and brown. And then I went over it again with an embossing, a clear embossing pad and clear embossing ink. Clear embossing ink pad and then clear embossing powder. And again, got that really cool enamel effect across the top of my design. It also makes the color really pop from there. And then one other thing I want to show you is that our Mystical cardstock, Opulent cardstock pack is going to be available as an upsell. And as you can see, it's got some really fun, groovy, it's got holographic, iridescent, a glitter ombre, and these papers emboss so beautifully. So I did a card where I made my own little birthday cake and I used the Art Deco folder, but I used the glitter, oh my gosh, I love this, the glitter ombre paper from the Mystical collection and created my own little birthday cake with a little bit of a flair design. So those are the 3 bundles that we are going to be showcasing on HSN. And quickly, I'm just gonna put together, show you how beautifully they can all work together. I'm just gonna make a simple little card and show you how nice it could all be. So I'm pulling in my Big Shot machine. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to emboss a background. So I've got pre-folded white cardstock. I'm just doing a traditional 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 cardstock size. And I've just pre-cut a white panel of cardstock that I'm gonna run through an embossing folder. I wanted to use my honeycomb folder, so I've got the folder out. Now, one trick with 3D embossing is because it's so detailed, you want to loosen up the fibers on your paper. And so I've got just a little water spritzer. I'm gonna spritz each side, off camera, I'm gonna spritz each side of this with a little bit of water just to, as it runs through the machine, it'll loosen up the fibers so that it'll really emboss well. So you can hear me spritzing it off camera. So now it's a little damp. I'm gonna put this in there, line it up. And you're gonna wanna follow directions for 3D embossing on your platforms at home. So for this one, I'm just putting it in the folder and one cutting pad on top. And then 3D embossing, rule of thumb, you wanna run it through 3 times. That's what really gets that intricacy and that depth of the emboss. And that's why you also want the water, because you're running it through 3 times. But how stunning is that? I love that one. So I'm gonna set that off to the side, let it dry a little bit, and I'm gonna cut a few pieces now from the floral jar set. So I'm gonna use the Wild Blooms collection, and I'm gonna cut some flowers out of some fun colors, and I'm gonna cut some stems real quick. So another great thing anytime you're using florals, I think our paper sculpting kit is the perfect opportunity to use with any florals we have. If you're not familiar with our paper sculpting kit, it comes with different stylus tools where you can add dimension. They're great for just giving that extra little flair. And I'm gonna cut a couple flowers out of some of our primrose and cherry blossom cardstock. Okay, so we'll cut this flower. I like how nice and wide that is. And then we're gonna cut some flower centers. One thing I like to do is kind of just try to cut as much as I can all at once. You don't want to overload your machine as you're going through, but it's nice to just be able to cut all my little pieces in one pass sometimes. Okay, and then I think I'm gonna want some leaves. So I'm gonna cut a couple leaves. And one thing I like to do when I'm creating cards is I'll cut the same shape in a variety of colors and then just kind of start to play around and see what I end up liking. I think sometimes there's a lot of pressure to figure out what you want right from the get-go, and I personally just like to build my cards, so I don't always necessarily know what I want to do when I first start on them. So I'll just cut out a bunch of different colors and see what works. Okay, so move these, oops, move these off to the side. Made a big old mess just now. Especially with these smaller ones, your die pick is going to come really in handy. If you don't have one, a die pick is a must. So as you can see, I've cut, and then I've cut the flower center right there. I'm going to put that off to the side. And I've also cut a couple of the flower stems. A recommendation with, especially because these ones are so skinny and tiny, backing these things in adhesive sheets is always welcome, especially when you're putting them together. But I know how I'm gonna lay this out, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue here and there to make it work. And then I'm just getting all my pieces out so that when I go to lay them all down with glue, they'll work just fine. Okay, I'm gonna cut one more flower, and I think I'm gonna cut a few more leaves in a different color. So grab these real quick. So I've got some primrose right here. I'm gonna cut that flower out of that, and I think I want some mint julep leaves just to have a variety. And I like to cut in squares just so I can, you know, I don't waste a lot of paper, and I can get different colors, and I don't know, I really like color blocking things. Okay. So now I've got all my die cut pieces, and I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna do a stamp framelit. So I'm gonna pull in one of my shapes that comes with the framelit set, and I'm gonna pull in one of my stamps as well. We'll see if those work out. I might have forgotten to bring a stamp pad in here, so that might not work, but we'll give it the old college try. Okay, so now let me move this out of the way and pull in those other sentiments. Okay, I think I want to do a label shape. Those are really fun. I'm going to do this label shape, and I'm going to do it in the, I think it'll look pretty in mint julep. Okay. So I'm just going to cut this, and it'll be ready to go when I go to stamp my sentiment. There we go. And now let's put everything together. Okay, so I've got my background, which I'm gonna just place on there. One thing I do like to use with embossing folders is the foam tape. I find that it is one of the best adhesives to put everything down. So that's usually what I like to use when I'm adhering down my embossing folders. That way I know they're gonna stick. Sometimes with liquid adhesive, it pulls up in corners. Not that it doesn't work, but I just feel like it takes longer to get situated, especially if you're in a kind of a hurry. The foam tape will work a little bit faster for you. Okay. So lay those on there. Then what I like to do is build up my flowers. So I've got these 2 flowers. I'm just gonna pull in some liquid adhesive and kind of glue my elements together real quick. So I'm just gonna use some express glue on the back and adhere these into place real quick. And then I'll start to lay out my flowers so that I have an idea of where I want my shapes to go. Okay. So I know I want them to kind of crisscross the flowers. So I'm gonna do this and lay down my 2 different stems just so I can see where everything's gonna go. And then I know that my label shape is gonna go right about here. So I want my stems to cross over a little bit more just to have that nice little feature. So I'll put my label shape there. And then I think I'll probably go and add in a few of these little pieces right here and have them stick them in. So I'm gonna start by, now that I kind of know where I want things to go, I'm gonna leave some of the pieces there so I know how I want the shape to look. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue in a couple of places on the stem, and then I'll lay that down into place around, strategically around my label shape. And I'll do the same with the other one. Okay. And I know I want this one to cross over, so I'm gonna have it go more of an angle, like that. And then if you want, you can add some foam tape onto the back of one of the flowers, just to give it that little extra dimension. So I've cut that kind of big. I'm just gonna cut it a little bit smaller. And I'm gonna glue one down flat, and then I'll have the other one just angle up a little bit higher. Okay. And then I'm gonna tuck in one of my leaves coming out underneath. Though I kind of like the smaller leaves on the actual stem itself. So I might just go with the smaller leaves. So I'm gonna have this one kind of come up and through the side. And then I'm gonna layer this one over the top. Just gonna put my label shape on right here. Perfect. So let me see if I have a stamp pad handy, which I thought I had brought one in. Apologies. But I'm not seeing my stamp pad, which I thought I had in here. So we're just gonna have to pretend that I'm stamping. So I would have taken the label and placed it down right there. And then I probably was gonna do like congratulations, and I would stamp the congratulations across. Now you could also, if you wanted to, add a few florals coming out of here, add another flower down here in the corner. That would be really pretty as well. But that is all of the makes. I hope you have enjoyed. I'm gonna move this back up so I can talk to you again real quick. go. So like I said, we're going to be on HSN March 2nd. We have 3 different bundles that I just went through with you. I hope you enjoyed all of them and that you got lots of inspirational ideas, and enjoy your time with Pete, because he's going to be showcasing all 3 bundles on HSN March 2nd. I hope you all have